February 19, 1945, Shermans 59 hours. Iwo Jima, Beach Red 1. The ramp of the Higgins boat slams down into the black, volcanic sand, and the seasick Marines of the 4th and 5th Divisions spill out into hell. The air, thick with the sulfurous stench that gives the island its name, Sulphur Island, is shockingly quiet. For weeks, American warships have pounded this 8-square-mile rock, a preliminary bombardment described by the Japanese commander himself, Lieutenant General Tadamichi Kurabayashi, as far beyond description. The Marines expect a blasted, broken landscape. They find something else entirely. Corporal Don Graves, clutching his rifle, sinks to his ankles in the loose, ashy terrain. It's like trying to run in quicksand. Around him, 30,000 men are hitting the beaches, a wave of green against the stark black shore. They've been told to expect a swift victory. That intelligence estimates the island will fall in a week. But General Kurabayashi has broken with traditional Japanese military doctrine. Instead of defending the beaches head-on, he has ordered his 21,000 men to wait. They wait inside a fortress unlike anything the Americans have ever faced. For months, under Kurabayashi's meticulous direction, Japanese soldiers and Korean laborers have turned Iwo Jima into a subterranean nightmare. They have carved over 11 miles of tunnels through the soft volcanic rock, connecting hundreds of hidden artillery positions, machine gun nests, and concrete reinforced pillboxes. Every inch of the landing zones has been pre-measured, every field of fire precisely calculated to create overlapping kill zones. The naval bombardment, for all its thunder, has barely scratched the true defenses hidden deep underground. For a full hour, the eerie silence holds as more and more men and materiel pile up on the shore, struggling through the clinging ash that makes digging a foxhole impossible. Then the trap is sprung. The eruption is sudden and absolute. From the slopes of Mount Suribachi to the south and the rocky plateau to the north, the island explodes with perfectly sighted artillery, mortar, and machine gun fire. The beaches, moments before a scene of organized chaos, become a slaughterhouse. Men are cut down where they stand, shredded by shrapnel and machine gun rounds that seem to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. The black sand turns red. The advance grinds to a halt, measured not in yards but in the bodies of fallen Marines. It becomes terrifyingly clear that conventional weapons are failing. Rifles and machine guns are useless against enemies hidden behind feet of reinforced concrete. Grenades tossed into pillbox openings are often thrown right back out. Even as Marines heroically inch their way forward, clearing a bunker, they are suddenly cut down by fire from the very position they just neutralized, reoccupied by Japanese soldiers, moving unseen through the labyrinth of tunnels. The Marines nickname the lethal choke points the Meat Grinder and Bloody Gorge. In the command ships offshore, General Howland Mads Smith and the V Amphibious Corps staff watch the carnage with growing horror. The casualty reports are staggering. The carefully planned invasion is turning into a bloodbath, and the Marines are trapped on the beaches. They need a new weapon, a way to fight an enemy they cannot see, an enemy buried in the rock. They need something that can reach into the darkness and turn fortified stone into a tomb. They need fire. A new call echoes in the chaos of the beachhead, passed from shell-shocked NCOs to grim-faced officers. Get the blowtorches up here. Bring up the Zippos. It is the order that every Marine dreads hearing, and none more so than the men tasked with answering it. They are not a special unit, but riflemen and combat engineers, often chosen for little more than their physical strength. Their weapon is officially designated the portable flamethrower M22. It consists of two large connected tanks filled with a jellied gasoline mixture, an early form of napalm, and a smaller central tank of highly compressed nitrogen that acts as the propellant. The entire apparatus, strapped to a man's back, weighs nearly 70 pounds. To the enemy, it is the most feared weapon on the battlefield. To the man carrying it, it is a death sentence. The Japanese soldiers defending Iwo Jima learn very quickly to identify the distinctive silhouette of a flamethrower operator. They will ignore officers, machine gunners, and corpsmen to eliminate him. The man with the tanks on his back is the priority target, always. This singular focus creates a chilling reality for the operator. Post-battle analysis will reveal a horrifying statistic. The combat life expectancy of a flamethrower operator on Iwo Jima was just 4 minutes. The casualty rate for these men would ultimately climb to 92%. For Private First Class Leo Hines, a farm boy from Ohio, this reality is about to become intensely personal. His squad is pinned down by a concrete pillbox half buried in a volcanic ridge, its single aperture spitting fire from a Nambu heavy machine gun. 2 attempts to flank it have ended with bodies lying still on the black sand. Hines' squad leader, a sergeant with eyes aged far beyond his 20 years, crawls over to him. "Hines, it's you. We'll give you everything we've got." Hines nods, his mouth too dry for words. 2 other Marines from his fire team crawl into position, their M1 Garands aimed at the pillbox. Carrying a flamethrower is not a solo mission. It requires a team. The rifleman's job is to provide such an overwhelming volume of suppressive fire on the bunker's opening that the gunners inside are forced to keep their heads down, if only for a few critical seconds. As Hines rises into a low crouch, the weight of the M22 feels like an anchor. The napalm sloshes inside the tanks, an unsettling liquid sound that reminds him he is a walking bomb. A single well-placed bullet or piece of shrapnel into the pressurized tanks will not just kill him, it will vaporize him in a ball of fire, likely taking his teammates with him. Other Marines instinctively give him space. No one wants to be near the Zippo when it goes up. "Now, go now!" the sergeant screams. The 2 riflemen open up, their 8-round clips sending a steady stream of .30-06 rounds smacking against the concrete face of the pillbox. Hines begins his run. The soft, treacherous sand grabs at his boots, each step a monumental effort. He doesn't run upright. He moves in a stumbling, lurching gait, trying to make himself as small a target as possible. The world shrinks to the narrow, dark slit of the enemy bunker. He can hear the distinctive snap of incoming rounds passing his head. They know he is coming. They are trying to kill him. 25 yards. The effective range of his weapon is just over 20. He has to get closer. The air is a storm of noise, the crackle of his squad's rifles, the thud of enemy mortars, the unending scream of his own pulse in his ears. He falls to one knee, the metal frame of the M22 digging into his spine. 15 yards. He is in range. He raises the 3-foot-long wand, his knuckles white around the 2 triggers. One releases the pressurized nitrogen, the other ignites the fuel. Through the haze of smoke and cordite, he can see the muzzle flash of the Nambu machine gun still firing from the slot. He takes one last, ragged breath and squeezes. A deafening roar erupts from the wand in Hines' hands. A sound like a giant blowtorch, and a thick, searing river of liquid fire leaps across the intervening space. It is not a clean, neat flame. It is a semi-solid jet of jellied gasoline, an orange-black mass of incandescent fury that hits the concrete face of the pillbox with a wet, heavy slap. The napalm splashes and clings, instantly finding the narrow opening. For a terrifying second, the stream of fire pours directly into the dark slit, as if Hines is filling a container. The effect is instantaneous and horrific. The Nambu machine gun falls silent. A new sound emerges from within the bunker, a muffled, high-pitched screaming that is barely human. It is cut short almost immediately. Then a thick, greasy black smoke, smelling of burning oil and cooked flesh, begins to billow from the aperture. The suppressive fire from Hines' teammates ceases. The only sound is the crackling of the residual napalm burning itself out on the bunker's facade, and the quiet hiss of the spent propellant from Hines' weapon. He stumbles back, his heart hammering against his ribs. The adrenaline that propelled him forward drains away, leaving a nauseating, bone-deep tremor in its wake. He has just incinerated at least 3 men. He has turned their fortress into an oven. The grim reality of his role settles upon him. He is not just a soldier, he is an exterminator. This brutal, intimate act of destruction is being repeated hundreds of times a day across the island's volcanic terrain. The flamethrower becomes the decisive weapon in what Marines call blowtorch and corkscrew tactics. A Japanese position is located and pinned down with conventional fire, the corkscrew. Then the flamethrower operator is sent in to deliver the fiery coup de grace, the blowtorch. It is a slow, bloody, and methodical process of annihilation, bunker by bunker, cave by cave. The Japanese defenders, followers of the Bushido Code which forbids surrender, react with a mixture of terror and suicidal determination. They learn to counter the flamethrowers with their own desperate tactics. Snipers are positioned with the sole purpose of targeting the operator's fuel tanks. Suicide bombers, clutching explosives to their chests, will lie in wait in hidden spider holes, ready to leap out and destroy the flamethrower team in a final, defiant act. Kuribayashi's men understand that if the flamethrower reaches their position, their options are a swift death by gunfire or a horrific death by fire. Many choose to take their attackers with them. The psychological toll on the operators is immense. They live with the constant knowledge that they are the enemy's #1 target. They see the fear in their own comrades' eyes the way other Marines give them a wide berth. Every mission is a potential immolation, but the weapon's effectiveness is undeniable. It breaks stalemates. It saves the lives of riflemen who would otherwise have to charge entrenched positions. In the hellscape of Iwo Jima, the flamethrower is both a savior and a harbinger of the most terrible kind of death imaginable. As the battle grinds north from the beaches into the island's interior, a hellish maze of gorges, ridges, and man-made caves known as the Motoyama Plateau, the limitations of the portable flamethrower become tragically apparent. The terrain is a defender's dream. Japanese positions are dug into sheer rock faces, inaccessible to a man on foot. The fortified zones are too deep, the networks of tunnels too vast. Sending a lone Marine with a 70-pound tank on his back to attack a multi-level subterranean fortress is suicide, not a tactic. The Marines are once again taking catastrophic losses and the advanced stalls. A more powerful, more protected form of fire is needed. The solution is already on the island, rumbling forward on steel treads. March 3, 1945. Hill 382, northern Iwo Jima. The area is known simply as the amphitheater, a natural bowl of rock and shattered earth that has become a vortex of death for the 4th Marine Division. For 3 days, they have thrown themselves against a series of interlocking Japanese positions honeycombed into the hillsides. The cost has been sickening. Entire platoons have been chewed up and spat out by machine gun fire that erupts from unseen caves and spider holes. The portable flamethrower teams, sent in to burn out the nests, are cut down before they can even get within range. The enemy is too high up, too well protected. The corkscrew and blowtorch tactic is failing, drowning in Marine blood. Lieutenant Jack Lummis, a former professional football player for the New York Giants, watches as another assault withers under the relentless fire. His men are exhausted, their morale shredded. They are fighting ghosts in a fortress of rock. A runner slides into the shell crater beside him, gasping for breath. "They're sending up a Zippo, sir. One of the Ronsons." A murmur of hope ripples through the weary Marines. They look back down the corpse-strewn trail and see it coming. It is an M4 Sherman tank, but its silhouette is wrong. Instead of the long barrel of a 75mm cannon, a shorter, thicker tube protrudes from the turret. This is the M4 3R3, a standard Sherman modified to carry a Navy-designed flamethrower. It is a mechanical dragon, and it is their last best hope. The tank, belching diesel smoke, clanks and grinds its way over the broken terrain, its steel treads chewing up the volcanic soil. Unlike the vulnerable infantryman with 70 pounds on his back, the Zippo tank is protected by inches of rolled steel armor. Its flamethrower, fed by a massive internal fuel tank, can shoot a torrent of napalm over 100 yards, a terrifying reach compared to the portable version's 20. It can douse an entire cliff face in liquid fire from a position of relative safety. The Sherman lumbers into position, its turret slowly traversing to face the pockmarked hillside that has been spitting death. The Marines hug the earth, a mix of awe and terror on their faces. The command comes over the tank's radio. The short, ugly barrel of the flamethrower erupts with a deep, throaty whoosh. It is nothing like the quick, almost desperate burst of a portable unit. This is a sustained, roaring jet of fire, a massive stream of blazing napalm as thick as a man's arm. It soars through the air in a graceful, horrifying arc and smashes against the cliffside. The entire face of the hill seems to ignite. The fire isn't just aimed at one bunker opening, it blankets a dozen of them, pouring into cave mouths, cascading down rock faces, and seeping into the narrowest cracks and crevices. The sheer volume of jellied gasoline is overwhelming. clinging to every surface and burning with an impossible heat, estimated to reach 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. The Japanese machine guns, which have been chattering relentlessly for days, fall instantly silent. The firestorm roars for a full 10 seconds, consuming every ounce of oxygen in its path. When the jet cuts off, the hillside continues to burn. Black smoke, thicker and more acrid than anything the infantry flamethrowers produced, pours from the caves. The Marines watch, mesmerized and horrified. There are no screams this time. The death inside is too fast, too absolute. The fire has not just killed the defenders, it has consumed the very air they needed to breathe, creating a fatal vacuum. For those deeper in the tunnels, the superheated toxic smoke will bring a slower, suffocating end. The Zippo tank fires again, targeting another section of the hill, and again. It methodically, impassively paints the Japanese fortress with fire, erasing positions that have cost the Marines hundreds of casualties in mere minutes. The psychological impact is profound. For the Marines, it is a moment of grim salvation, proof that American industry could create a monster even more terrible than Kuribayashi's fortress. For the Japanese defenders, hidden deeper in their tunnels, listening to the roar and smelling the scorched aftermath, it is the sound of hell arriving on their doorstep, an unholy weapon that renders their subterranean defenses utterly obsolete. The tide on Hill 382 has turned. The success of the flame tanks on Hill 382 is not an isolated event. It is a tactical revolution that transforms the final weeks of the battle. The stalemate is broken. The slow, grinding advance of infantry, paid for with a rifleman's life for every yard gained, is replaced by a new, terrifyingly efficient doctrine of armored fire. The 8 Zippo tanks of the 5th Tank Battalion, along with others from the 3rd and 4th, become the surgeons of this brutal campaign, tasked with cutting the heart out of Kuribayashi's fortress. The new rhythm of the battle is set. Marine infantry squads advance until they hit an insurmountable strongpoint, a fortified cave mouth, a concrete blockhouse, or a nest of machine guns spitting fire from a rocky crevice. Instead of launching a frontal assault, they dig in, lay down a wall of suppressive fire, and call for the Zippos. Inside the cramped, sweltering confines of an M4A3R3 Sherman, Sergeant Bill Fallon of the 5th Tank Battalion peers through his periscope. His world is a green-tinted rectangle of volcanic wasteland. The noise is deafening, the constant roar of the engine, the chatter of the bow machine gun, and the sharp metallic ping of enemy rifle rounds, glancing harmlessly off the turret. They are hunting him, he knows. Japanese soldiers with magnetic mines and satchel charges are hiding in the rocks, waiting for a chance to get close enough to disable his machine. His infantry screen is his lifeblood, their rifles keeping the hunters at bay. Target identified, a voice crackles through his headset. Cave opening, 1 o'clock, base of the ridge. Fallon traverses the turret. He sees it, a dark, ragged slash in the rock, almost invisible until you know where to look. He sees the puffs of dirt around it where Marine bullets are striking. He gives the order to the gunner. Give it a short burst. Test the range. A thick, oily stream of napalm arcs through the air and splatters 20 feet short of the target, igniting the black sand in a brilliant flash. Fallon corrects the elevation. Up 2. Let him have the whole 9 yards. The gunner presses the trigger and holds it. The tank shudders slightly as the high-pressure system unleashes its payload. Through the periscope, Fallon watches the river of fire soar and strike true, engulfing the entire section of the ridge. It pours into the cave mouth like water, clinging to the rock and burning with a furious intensity. He keeps the stream going for 12 seconds, expending over 100 gallons of fuel. He imagines the fire racing down the tunnels, a liquid inferno consuming everything in its path, chasing men into the deepest recesses of the earth where there is no escape. Only a choice between suffocation and being burned alive. When the infantry moves up minutes later, they find a scene of utter devastation. The entrance to the cave is blackened and scorched, the air reeking of napalm and something else, something sickeningly sweet. There is no resistance. The position, which might have held up the advance for hours and cost dozens of Marine lives, has been neutralized in seconds. This becomes the template for victory. Across the northern plateau, in places that will be forever known as Cushman's Pocket, Turkey Knob, and the final Bloody Gorge, The Zippo tanks lead the way. They systematically erase the Japanese defenses. General Kuribayashi's brilliant strategy of a subterranean war of attrition is rendered useless. His fortress was designed to withstand bombs and shells, but it was not designed to withstand a liquid fire that could flow like water into its very heart. For the thousands of Japanese soldiers still following his orders to fight to the last man, their underground sanctuary has become a mass grave, their tombs sealed by fire. The battle for Iwo Jima is entering its final, horrific phase. March 21st, 1945. The Northern Plateau, the organized resistance of the Imperial Japanese Army on Iwo Jima, is shattered. General Kuribayashi, in his final defiant radio message to Tokyo, has already apologized to the emperor for failing to hold the island. He is now somewhere deep in the earth, preparing for a final charge with his remaining officers. For the thousands of his soldiers still alive, scattered in isolated pockets across the Northern Plateau, there is no longer a coherent battle plan. There is only the end. For these men huddled in the stifling, pitch-black darkness of their caves, the world has shrunk to a series of terrifying sounds. The distant rumble of artillery, the crack of American rifles, and worst of all, the deep, guttural cough of the flame tanks. They call the Shermans fire-breathing dragons, and they know what the sound means. They have seen what the napalm does. They have smelled the aftermath. Their choice, dictated by the Bushido Code, is grimly simple. Die fighting in a hopeless banzai charge, take their own life with a grenade, or wait for the fire. Above ground, the nature of the American operation has shifted from combat to a grim, methodical cleansing. The Marines of the 3rd, 4th, and 5th Divisions are no longer fighting a pitched battle. They are conducting what military terminology coldly refers to as mopping up. But on Iwo Jima, this is a task of unimaginable horror. A squad of Marines approaches a cave system near Kitano Point, the last major pocket of resistance. The position has been silent for hours, but no one trusts the silence. A Zippo tank grinds into place, its steel hull scarred and dented from the weeks of fighting. The procedure is now chillingly routine. The tank's main gun fires a single white phosphorus round into the cave mouth, a marker that also serves as a potent psychological weapon, its burning chemical particles igniting anything they touch. Then comes the flamethrower. A torrent of fire plunges into the dark opening for 15 seconds. The roar echoes across the blasted landscape. When it stops, thick black smoke, oily and suffocating, pours back out. The Marines wait. There is no return fire. There are no screams. A combat bulldozer, its armored cab protecting the operator, rumbles forward. With a groan of powerful hydraulics, it lowers its massive blade and begins to push tons of rock, dirt, and sulfurous ash over the entrance. The tomb is sealed. Inside, dozens of Japanese soldiers are permanently entombed, their final moments a mix of searing heat and asphyxiation. This process is repeated hundreds of times across the island, but not every position is sealed. Some caves must be cleared by hand, a terrifying task reserved for combat engineers and riflemen. They advance cautiously into the darkness, the beams of their flashlights cutting through the haze. What they find will haunt them for the rest of their lives. Inside, the heat is still oppressive. The stench is indescribable. The walls are blackened with soot. The bodies are everywhere. Some are charred beyond recognition, fused to their weapons in the volcanic rock in grotesque tableaus of agony. Others appear untouched by the flames, but are dead all the same, killed by the superheated, oxygen-deprived air. Deeper in the tunnels, they find evidence of mass suicide. Officers, having shot their men who refused to kill themselves, have committed seppuku. Enlisted soldiers lie in circles, their bodies torn apart by the grenades they detonated in their midst. It is a vision of a hell created by desperation and fire. The men who wielded the flamethrowers, both the portable and the tank-mounted versions, are the architects of this destruction. They won the battle. They broke the back of Kuribayashi's fortress and saved countless American lives. But they are forever marked by the unique brutality of their weapon, by the intimate knowledge of the horrific death it delivered. Victory on Iwo Jima was not just a matter of capturing ground. It was achieved through a systematic process of eradication by fire, a process that turned a volcanic island into a crematorium. Thank you for watching.